start by having a look in the green room and see who's turned up this evening. We have a former X Factor star who's gone on to have an amazingly successful career, fully deserved. She has a great voice. It's Ella Henderson singing live for us this evening. Ella Henderson, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, Ella. Hello. Next to her, we have the man who turned down a career in the diplomatic service to pursue his passion on a little-known TV show about cars. It is, of course, Jeremy Clarkson, ladies and gentlemen. Hi, Jeremy. Could have been a diplomat. Also here we have the hugely popular star of Cool and the Midwife and, of course, her brilliantly funny sitcom Miranda. It's Miranda Hart. And what a career my next guest has had. He started out in an office, then he worked alongside an eccentric detective before heading off barefoot to fight dragons. It's the Hobbit himself. Martin Freeman is here, ladies and gentlemen. I love that. I like that. That's the moment. And finally, we have a guest who's had a little bit of success. He's been in a couple of bands, but he's probably best known as the father of one of the world's best designers, Stella McCartney. Sir Paul McCartney, there he is. Hello, Paul. All right. That's the show, ladies and gentlemen. That's a great show for you. Now, everyone likes getting a Christmas card, of course, except perhaps the one sent out this year by Tony and Cherie Blair. Here it is. OK. You don't even have to make a joke. That's enough, isn't it? That's a genuine card. That is their genuine Christmas card they sent out to friends this year. They look like the owners of a creepy bed and breakfast for swingers, don't they? He looks like he's taken too much Red Bull and Viagra. You think I'm exaggerating? That's only the top. Look at the bottom half of the card as well. When you look at that, you'll see exactly what I mean. Well, that is not my idea of a festive greeting. Hello, ladies. Let's get my first guest out. He's filmed all over the world, on every continent and in nearly every country, and he is still welcomed back in at least 3 of them. Fortunately, one of them is right here. Would you please welcome Jeremy Clarkson? Welcome home. It is. Welcome home. Thank you, everybody. Jeremy Clarkson.
Do you want to do that again?
What was what? What was
well,
that?
I thought we didn't pull that off.
What?
Mate!
No, but I didn't want that, because
All right.
I don't want to get that bumping up against me. When's it due? Look at the size of that.
This takes a lot of work.
Well, let's sit down and we'll discuss it. Because...
I have to write columns, I have to do TV, turn it into wine and food, and then that.
Well, I wouldn't have been so rude as to mention that, but I think you're a bit of a sex symbol. I think because you... I think women respond well to you. I don't, for the life of me, know why, but it does... No, don't. You're doing that because you know... So how's life for you? Because it strikes me that this has been, even by your standards, quite a controversial and busy year. It seems to me that you have been in the newspapers quite a lot.
Have I?
Yes. And I wonder whether you do this on purpose or whether it just happens to you.
No, I mean, it has been a difficult year. You've been there, now I've been there, and it's not nice. But, you know, here we are, we've made it through. Nobody died, and so let's carry on. OK. The interesting thing is you compared the two of us there, and, of course, I mean, I haven't actually, not yet anyway, been chased out of an entire country by angry mobs. Yeah. You have. This is what happened to you. Yeah.
It was October, wasn't it? Was it just...
Yeah, we were filming in Argentina and Chile for our Christmas special this year on Top Gear, and somebody noticed that the registration number of my car was H982FKL, which
so
they said
looked
was...
like 1982...
Falkland,
which, of course, was when the conflict happened.
Exactly. So this was deemed by some people in Argentina to be offensive. Now, if we had done this on purpose, which is actually, if you stop and think about it, impossible, but let's just say we'd done it on purpose.
I'll be honest with you, Jeremy. I saw that and I thought, what's wrong with him?
Done it on purpose.
Yeah, it really, I could not believe you didn't do it on purpose.
Jonathan,
I still struggle with that.
May I ask you a question?
No.
What's your car registration number?
That's not the point.
There you go. You haven't got a clue.
No,
I don't know what mine... I never know. It was never checked. It's not something you look at. There's a busy, but let me...
Because that isn't your car anyway, is it?
Even if we had done it on purpose, and we didn't, but even if we had, it didn't warrant the reaction that we got. The way I look at it is, let's just say we did do it on purpose.
OK.
Let's just say we did.
Which you're saying you didn't know. We should make that clear. But
yeah,
let's say it was a joke that went wrong.
The reaction was horrible. Now, the thing is that the Argentinians, when they came over for London 2012, they snuck some athletes onto the Falkland Islands and filmed them training, and they said, by red phone boxes and things, saying, to win on British soil, Argentinian athletes train on Argentinian soil. We didn't throw stones at them. You know, they turn up at football matches with the Malvinas on Argentinian. We don't throw stones at them.
Yeah.
And yet, some of our guys were injured. Every single car had rocks thrown at it. The only good thing is our first AD, the first assistant director, said, they throw like girls.
Well, you can't say that. You've done it again.
It just wasn't funny. I mean, we hadn't gone down there to spark fury. We hadn't gone down there to upset anybody.
So were you actually... Because you seem to me to be a very capable man, a very confident man, and you were a big fella as well. Were you actually scared?
Oh, shit scared.
Wow.
It was, I mean, because we didn't know at that time that they do throw like girls, but they, you know...
You can't keep saying that.
They throw like...
They throw not well.
Children.
Throw that. Some children are great throwers.
So like small babies.
Don't
like
start picking on babies.
Puppies. They throw like puppies. But no, What was your question?
I can't remember.
I can't remember. It was years ago.
You were genuinely scared, which
it was a genuinely scary thing, and particularly when it transpired just how much trouble the crew were in.
Yeah.
It just isn't a subject that I find particularly funny.
You
because, I mean,
sometimes
we ask for it on Top Gear. Sometimes in Southern America, where we had Man Love Rules OK and country and Western music is rubbish written on our cars, we're asking for trouble. And sometimes we're not. Sometimes on a Christmas special, we're making a little travelogue through what was actually a lovely part of the world. And this is what we were trying to do. And it all went hideously wrong. But you do get quite a good ending to our Christmas special.
So there's a silver lining.
There's a silver lining.
So
and nobody was killed.
You won't be going back there, though, will you? They would never let you back, would they?
I'm going back to Chile.
But to Argentina?
I'd like to say here and now a big thank you to the Chilean governor who saved us.
I don't think he watches.
I think he does. There he does. So thank you, Mr. Chilean Governor. We are your friends forever.
Is that his name, Mr. Chilean Governor?
It is now.
Well, let me ask you another question, because recently I read, and I don't know if it's true, that I read that you were standing, or thinking of standing, as an MP.
That's Google shunting, Jonathan.
I beg your pardon?
Google shunting.
OK, what's that mean?
It means that when somebody writes a story in a newspaper that you don't much care for, you just think, I'd rather that wasn't sitting at the top of Google,
Yeah,
so
we've all
everybody
had
put my
that,
name in. Yeah, you've been there, we've all...
Stop saying that, will you? I've moved on.
Yeah, I'm moving on,
Yeah.
but if that happens, so a newspaper writes it, it all sits at the top of Google.
Yeah.
So you need to come up with something more modern, something more fresh.
Yeah.
And so I will then go on Twitter and say, I'm thinking of standing as an MP against Ed Miliband. All the newspapers run around, print stories, and suddenly the story you don't want sitting there is Google, is shunted way down onto page 43, and then your story that you don't mind having there is it's absolutely rubbish. Of course I'm not going to stand it.
But you see, I bet you when Nigel Farage read that, he thought, I've got some serious competition. What do you make of those guys? Would you, if they said to you, because I imagine there's if you draw circles of demographic interest, I imagine a lot of their fans would think, Clarkson is our man. Yes, they don't always know you're joking.
There's a slight problem, is I'm massively pro-European.
All right.
So it becomes rather difficult to support a party that wants primarily to get you out of Europe when all I want to do is stay in Europe.
You love Europe?
I really love being in
Just because you like the speed limits?
No, I like Italian speed limits a lot.
What's the speed limit in Italy?
There isn't one.
Wow.
Well, there is.
Okay,
there is, but nobody knows what it is. We were filming there this year, and...
What do you mean no one knows what it is?
I said to the policeman, what's the speed limit? Anyway, he's... That was his... the speed cameras all the way down. He said, no, but they are all broken. How do you think we go there such a lot? God's race.
OK, let me ask you then, because I think you're a very funny writer, and I always enjoy your shows. Why would you do that?
You want me said wanker?
Yeah.
I did. I thought, why did you just say wanker?
So here's some of the things you said about other countries. And I've actually weeded out the worst ones, right? I don't even want to start on France, because you've always said...
France. I go on holiday every year in France.
Spain. Don't you think the paella is just rice with a bin bag emptied in it?
Don't clap that!
You're just encouraging.
No, but
You went on to say, I look at my bin at the end of the week, and that's basically paella.
It is. You actually put your bin back and there's some prawn shells, a little bit of the last night's curry, and you go, that's no different. Because I don't get it. I mean, this is not a Spanish thing. It's just when you have paella, there always seem to be empty shells. You know, there's always some mussel shells, but there's no actual mussels in them. And prawn shells, and it's just whatever it is that prawns have here, you get that in paella, but not the actual delicious bit that you used to get in Burney Inns with a bit of lettuce in Thousand Island.
There you go. Well, look, let me show you a clip. This is from the new Top Gear DVD. This is Jeremy enjoying himself. This is Perfect Road Trip 2.
Germany?
I said enjoying. What's wrong with you?
I'm profoundly deaf.
No, wait. What did I say?
I have a disability and you're mocking it. I am profoundly deaf. And...
Are you actually deaf?
No, genuinely, I've had a medical.
Well, how did you just hear that?
I can hear beats. If you speak clearly, I can hear you.
You're profoundly dishonest, is what you are. And you don't get a parking space for that.
I could have a parking space.
All right, here we go. This is Top Gear, the Perfect Road Trip 2. Have a look at this.
In my mind, I'm Edward Fox. I'm Sophia Loren. I'm Grace Kelly. No, I'm not Grace Kelly. She plummeted to her death off a road very similar to this.
Here we go. Sprint to the finish line. Oh, yes!
I'm blind and hot and miserable. I can't see a thing. There you go. Thank you.
No actual Ferraris were damaged there, were they?
No, they were plastic copies. Well, not very good copies of Ferraris.
Okay. It's great to see you. I remain a committed fan. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jeremy Clarkson.
Thank you, everybody.
Still to come on the show, ladies and gentlemen. After the break, Miranda Hart will be here, Martin Freeman, Paul McCartney, and music from Ella Henderson. Don't go away. Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get my next guest right out there. She's a comedian who's done it all. She's written and starred in an award-winning sitcom. She's penned a best-selling autobiography. And this year, she completed a sell-out national tour. Please welcome the fabulous Miranda Hart. I love this. It's
Sex symbol.
Who knew?
I think
It's a sex symbol,
I think
Jeremy
he is.
Clarkson.
Miranda, sit down. I think he is a bit of a sex symbol for some women. Do you not? Have you not noticed that?
But he's tall, isn't he? Should we talk about him as if he's not here?
That was like you were modelling underpants in a catalogue doing that. I don't know
In
why.
my mind, I was.
Yeah. Let me ask you about the success of Miranda, though, because a very funny show, a huge success. Are you surprised, though, at the reach you have, the audience you have? Because it goes from very young people to very old people, doesn't it? It's right across the broad spectrum.
I'm continually surprised by the success. I'm sort of still in... Having done the pilot, you sort of think, oh, this will never go anywhere. And then the first series happened. I thought, well, that was nice to have done it. And then it sort of kept growing, and I'm still, still shocked. I mean, thrilled, obviously.
And what do you get when you meet fans? What kind of things do they say to you? What kind of things do they want back from you in return? What do they like about the show?
I think... Well, I like to think that they've just really warmed to that character of... Everyone feels like an idiot at some point.
Yeah.
So I think they really want me to be that character. I'm a bit shyer than her, so I can't give a lot of different catchphrases they want me to say, a lot of different things.
Which ones in particular?
I was talking about a range of people. A 5-year-old came up to me and just looked at me and went, clutch! I thought, oh my God, I couldn't see the mother, and the mother rushed over. I'm so sorry, she says it all the time, and I said it in an episode I couldn't remember. So sweet.
But what a weird word for a 5-year-old to cling on to.
Clutch!
Wow.
Kept saying it at me.
I imagine you get that from 5-year-olds quite a lot as well, don't you, Jeremy?
All the time.
Well, the sad news is, though, Miranda is the series, not Miranda the person. Miranda the series is coming to an end.
Yeah, hopefully not. Me coming to... Yes, it is. We've just filmed the last 2 episodes ever, yeah.
Oh, my.
And I'm still feeling a bit emotional, actually.
That must have been quite an emotional thing.
There wasn't a dry eye during our final scene, I have to say.
Does that change your life? And, of course, you're now putting it away. Why are you ending it?
Well, that's lots of reasons, really. The fear of not ending on a high. And the next story I wanted to write was what I've done, and it ended up just feeling like the right time to end it. I've written a real finale moment.
If you wanted to come back, when you say a big finale moment, this isn't, I mean, it's not something so dramatic that she couldn't return, or is it?
No, but it did, funnily enough, I think on the night when we filmed it, we all got very emotional because we did realise it felt like the end, and watching it back in the edit, I cried every time I've seen it. It's pathetic, but it's because I realised I've written the end of it. So, yeah, it is. Wow. It is sad.
So the Miranda Christmas special is on over Christmas, 2 episodes.
Yeah, Christmas Day and New Year's Day.
OK, and if people want to see you live, you're not touring again at the moment, are you? I know.
No, I've finished touring, and but the DVD is out of my What I Call live show.
The DVD's out now. And also, this is one of the few DVDs I can say it kind of works for anyone, because it's not rude.
It's not rude.
No. It's my What I Call live show, Miranda Hart. That's out now, and it's great fun. And then, of course, the other huge success you've had is Call the Midwife, which is such a lovely show. I don't know if you know this, but I believe Paul McCartney is a fan of Call the Midwife. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did. I met Sir Paul a couple of years ago at the Jubilee concert. Made a complete to myself. But anyway, I'm trying to regroup back to tonight. And, yeah, he said... Because he said to me, "Oh, my gosh, Miranda." And I just went, "How do you know who I am?" Really high. And he said, "Because I've got a telly." It's who you are. I went a bit mental. It's embarrassing. But anyway, because his mother was a midwife.
Wow.
So he has memories of... I'm just saying words for you, sorry. He has memories of his mum cycling off, as we did in the series. Is that right? Have I got that right?
Yeah, that is true.
It's my new friend Paulie.
Cycling into the snow one night, yes.
Yeah, mate, isn't that amazing?
But it's kind of weird, because you're right, you kind of don't think that Paul McCartney watches the same TV we do, which is absurd, of course.
I know. It's just like,
you get that kind of thing, Paul? Do you realise people think you're different?
No.
So, let me ask you about the school you went to, because you played lacrosse at school, didn't you?
Yes. And I can throw.
Yeah.
You thought
I mean, you can't say that.
just watched it, you can't.
What?
You just did
I
that.
nearly put an orange on to throw. There's an orange in the
Would you
green
like us to get an orange for you?
I want to do
Get
a
an
proper
orange.
throw. I used to do throwing.
There we go.
Now, hold it. We should have 2.
Why?
Because
Who
then
can
we
throw
can
it the
compare
furthest?
Jeremy's one, James's.
Who's
I have
this?
to say,
Who are you?
you're broadly the same. No, listen, Graham. The thing is... Sorry.
Don't you dare. I
Go
was
on then,
holding,
give
we
it to
get one more.
Miranda.
I was in Westwood. I wanted to...
There you go.
OK, so now hold in. These are quite heavy, so don't throw them at the
We
audience.
should go over there.
OK, we should go over there, but even there, it's going to go through the
And the
set.
Argentinians then.
There's a man obvious.
I'm going to go up the top, and you throw it at
OK,
me,
okay, nice.
and I will catch it.
Yeah.
And then
Oh, I'm
we'll see
becoming
if we can do
quite
this.
active.
OK. Hello. All right.
Ross, there's a girl to your right. Look at us. Don't look at him, because this is the dangerous thing.
Look at them. All right,
You
hold
ready?
it. So I think we should go... Do you think we should go Jeremy first?
Yeah.
No, Miranda first.
Yeah, no, Jeremy first.
Ladies first.
Let's
Come
see.
on, ladies
no,
first.
We want to... Don't be so sexist. We want to see how a
can't
man
win.
Come here,
throws, because
sex
apparently
symbol.
that's
You
better.
go first.
Jeremy! Jeremy, you got
Just
to
got to do
go...
an orange
Jeremy,
juice.
overarm. You got to go
Overarm.
overarm.
What's with... were you thinking that I would do an underarm?
I was trying to be a gentleman.
OK.
Unsuccessfully.
Yeah.
You know
think-
this one's burst.
Well, because you threw it like a girl. I mean, no. I mean badly. I didn't mean that. I'm sorry.
Or is it me again?
Yeah, you go.
Yes, the overarm.
And that amazingly was my first
Okay.
go. Sorry.
My money's on mine. Here we go.
Desperate to do it now. This is the best fun we've ever had on the show.
Come on, Miranda.
Okay,
I
this
want
is
you
it.
to
This is
win.
the big one.
I want you to win.
She did it. We got it. We got it.
You should move to
Here
Argentina.
we go. I'm all citrusy.
But it did prove I could throw, at least.
Under the pressure,
Yeah.
I think you both do equally well. Oh, man.
You're not out of breath.
A little bit. I had to run up and down stairs catching badly thrown oranges. OK, so Call the Midwife, that's still going on. That's pretty strong.
That's still going on, yeah.
OK, you're doing that. And so what are you going to fill the Miranda-shaped hole in your life with?
Well, I don't know. I'm at a bit of a... I don't know.
Because it's a big thing. That was a big chunk of your year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And a big chunk of your creative juices.
It was the last 6 years, really. So, yeah, I did a film earlier this year. So, I mean, I'd love to do more acting and step away a bit from the... You love writing. I find it a pressure. I like the performing. I write to perform.
You say you want to do more acting, but you're in a movie coming out. Is it called Spy?
It's called Spy. It comes out in May.
And what is it? It's a kind of... This isn't the Men from U.N.C.L.E. film?
No, it's a James Bond. I think you'll like it because Paul Feig, who did Bridesmaids and The Heat. He's written a James Bond story, but it's funny. Melissa McCarthy is the lead in it.
She's brilliant.
And she's brilliant. And Jude Law is in it, and Jason Statham doing his first.
The Stath is in it.
First comedy role. He's very good.
There's a scene in that movie, I believe, in which you have a moment with 50 Cent. You know, the rap artist 50 Cent.
Yeah.
Now, how was 50? How did you get on with 50? How was working with 50? Did you say 50?
50 Cent piece, as I like to call him. Yeah, it was really surreal meeting him.
You had to tackle him, didn't you? Is that right?
I had to in my first scene in the film, I had to tackle him to the floor.
So what happened? So why are you tackling? Are you a police officer or a spy? What are you
I
doing?
don't know how much I meant to sort of give away, but I had to create a distraction for
so-
Melissa's character.
So he's performing.
He's performing, and I decide the distraction would be to tackle him to the
I
ground.
want to see this, but this isn't out for a while, is it?
No, it's not out till
I
May.
have an idea that we could perhaps recreate a similar moment using Britain's very own 50 Cent.
No. Well, I get tackled.
Well, I think so. So, Jeremy, I was thinking, here's a 50 Cent kind
This
of
will
hat.
undoubtedly spark fury in some way.
Would you pop that on, Jeremy?
We must keep an eye on his Twitter, because there'll be something to Google shunt this
Yeah,
in
yeah,
a couple of days.
Stand up and show us some rap moves. And then we'll believe you're 50 Cent, and then Miranda can show us how she lays him
If
low.
I stand up and do any of these moves about which you speak, I will spark fury in tomorrow's Daily Mirror. Nothing is more certain than that.
This is why we want you to do it.
Would you like to see Jeremy be a rapper for a second, ladies and gentlemen? There you go. You see, you're being asked. OK, move back a bit, move back a bit. We're going to... Because you have to pull him down. Let's put a mat down, because we don't want to destroy Jeremy. OK, so let's put a little bit of video on. Miranda, get him!
This isn't so bad after all.
In the movie, it got a bit sexual.
Did it? Yeah. How sexual?
Well...
Oh, no, there we go. You know what happened.
I tried to kiss him, and then he wouldn't let me.
So it wasn't that physical. Jonathan, why don't you bring the other guests out now?
Right, we're going to take a break just as well. Coming up after the break, Martin Freeman will be here, Paul McCartney and Anna Henderson before we live. Don't go away. I'll help you out. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Well, it's been an exciting and largely improvised show tonight. Let's get my next guest out. He gave The Office heart and soul. He wowed us in Sherlock. On stage, he recently delivered what many believe to be the definitive Richard III. And now he's in what I predict will be the biggest Christmas film of the year. Here to tell us where it all went so terribly wrong for him, it's Martin Freeman.
Unusual show to look at.
I like it. I love what's been going on.
Martin, it's great to see you here.
Thank you. Thank you for lying about the definitive Richard III.
No, everyone I know who knows about theatre, and I saw it, I thought it was great, but everyone I know who knows about theatre said it was an incredible performance, which it was.
Well, no, thank you very much, but I love the fact that you said many people are calling it the definitive Richard III. No one has called it that.
Well,
nobody. Even I haven't.
Let's see if we can change that now.
Let's try and do it.
It was
yeah,
certainly a bold and inventive take on it as well.
I loved doing it, and Jamie Lloyd is a very talented talented director, and yeah, I love doing it.
Hey, Martin, let me ask you about before we get on to the big new movie, which of course is hugely exciting, but you are in one of my all-time favourite Christmas movies. There's a movie me and my family watch every year without fail, and if it's on TV any other time of year, I still watch it, and I get caught up and I get emotional. Love Actually, which is just a wonderful film.
Thank you.
Now, that must have been, I would have thought, a fabulous experience to be working with Richard Curtis and to be in something like that. How was that for you? What are your memories of that?
Well, it's lovely. Richard Curtis, as you know, probably, is a very charming man and a good flatterer, and he wrote everyone in the cast a nice letter saying, I'm, you know, your biggest fan. And The Office was on at that time, and The Office was, you know, a popular show at the time.
Yeah.
And he was a fan, and he said, I'd like to come and be in this film, and it requires you being naked a lot. It's not an easy thing to get naked in front of, you know, 80 people, you know, eating bagels or whatever. You know.
And so how do you prepare for that? Because as a man as well, if you're naked, there's a certain thing that you're thinking, how impressive am I as an actor?
As an actor.
Standing naked before my peers.
It's not pierced. Well, you have a thing called no, it's not called a merkin. A merkin is a fake pubic hair, but you have a thing. I've done a few naked things in my time, and after a while, I stopped using what they give you because they give you a sort of discreet pouch, you know, they give you, like a sock sort of thing. So made of basically tights material, you know, ladies' tights material, with a kind of drawstring. It's like a medieval purse.
Like a coin purse.
Yeah, exactly.
But not for coins.
From 1503.
Wow.
And yeah, and so, but you do put your jewels in it. Thank you. But you put it round what you have, and you sort of tie it together. But over the course of the shooting, not that kind of shooting. Over the course of shooting, it starts to fall off.
Wow.
So after a while, after a few jobs of having a purse, I said to the woman in question, would you mind, if it doesn't offend, I'm just going to go with what God gave me. Because actually, you feel, it's so humiliating having this thing on. I think, well, if the woman is not offended, then I would rather just be naked.
Just be naked?
Yeah.
Free.
Live and be free.
OK, here you go. Now, this is the big, exciting news for fans of cinema, for fans of fantasy, and so on and so forth. The Hobbit, The Battle of Five Armies, is finally with us. December the 12th, it's out all over the country. And this is the last time we get to see a new adventure.
Yes.
Certainly with these actors in this generation in Middle-earth.
Yes, it is, yeah.
What a tremendous adventure for you to go on as well.
Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, it's a once in a lifetime thing, really, and I will always be very glad and grateful for it. Yeah, I made a fantastic load of friends and worked with, you know, one of the sort of most important directors of our time, and yes, it was a real pleasure to do.
And to be Bilbo Baggins, I mean, that presumably wasn't something you ever thought would come your way, because you've had a successful career, but to be that big a role in that big a series...
Yeah, but people used to say things... Like, I remember bumping into Andy Serkis, who, among other brilliant things in his career, plays Gollum in the series of films, and he said, has anyone ever talked to you about playing Bilbo? And I'd never given it any thought. But a few people, like Andy and a few other kind of fan people, were saying, oh, you'd make a really good Bilbo Baggins.
So people were seeing something in you that you didn't know you had necessarily?
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
Okay. And how was it preparing for that? Because you had to... There's a lot of makeup involved, more for some of the characters than for you, but, of course, the feet are a fairly big part of that character.
They are. I mean, that's a two-person job. It was two lovely women who would put that pair of feet on me. It's like a sort of latex... It's almost like tights, really, like stockings. They come midway up your thigh, and it takes about 8 minutes to put them on. It's quite an involved process.
Are the legs prepared in any way in advance?
Well, you have to shave your legs. Yeah, so in order that your hairs don't get caught while they're, you know, jucking up this big stocking, you shave your legs, which it's not a good look for me.
It's not a great look.
Not a good look on a man.
Did you ever stand there just in the feet, nothing else, and look at yourself as a naked Bilbo?
I did not, because there was never the opportunity to do it, because I never took them home, and I wasn't going to do that at work. No.
I'll be honest with you, I find that really weird that you didn't do that.
Fair enough.
Of course you would do that. Wouldn't you do that?
Fair play. No. Haven't you done that?
He does do that.
He does
no,
it, yeah.
I can imagine
I
you
would do that. I think
that.
you're crazy for not doing it.
Yeah, but I'm at work, Jonathan, and I mean, people are, you know, two lovely young women are putting on my stockings. I'm not going to suddenly take all my clothes off just to see what I look like.
Well, you take your own clothes off when they're out of the room.
What do you think filming The Hobbit is?
I don't know.
When they're out of the fucking room. What room? You're in the studio that's costing 43 zillion pounds a second. Hold on, everyone. I just want to see what my knob looks like with these...
Well, no, I think you missed the point.
Sorry.
I just think that would have been a memory for you.
I agree, but, you know, if you don't mind, I was busy with other memories. Okay. I was busy making magic for the millions. Yeah.
OK, so let's have a look at a clip. This is exciting. I've seen the film already. I'm one of the lucky ones who've seen it in advance, and it's wonderful. And I think it's actually probably the best of the three.
Oh, good.
I think it's lovely, and it really... so many things they set up in the early ones that they resolved just beautifully. It's out Friday. Obviously, everyone who's a fan of The Hobbit is going to go and see it, but even if you're not a fan yet, go and catch it, because it's just a mind-blowing scale that they work on.
True.
It's incredible. Here you go. This is Hobbit, The Five Armies.
Thorin, you gave a promise. You've won the mountain, is that not enough?
Now, we defend it.
When faced with death, what can anyone do?
I will not hide while others fight our battles for us!
You have but one question to answer. How shall this day end?
There he is, flipping my wing on. Hobbit, the Battle of the Five Armies opens next Friday. So what's next for you? What are you doing next? Because I imagine there's, not a void, but you've had that huge commitment. You knew what you were doing for so many years, and now that's gone. So what's your next thing?
Well, no, I mean, you know, I know what I'm doing for the next sort of year, you know, and that involves... well, more Sherlock in January. Yeah, we're doing more Sherlock. And
so there's... you're doing one special first, aren't you?
We are indeed, yes. Yeah, we are. And it's brilliantly written, as I think they all are. You know, it's a real pleasure to get those scripts through the door.
And can you tell us anything about it, or you can't tell us anything about it?
Well, I don't... I'd love to... Well, not everyone, but people who care have seen, you know, the photograph that went out of me and Ben, and it's in Victorian dress.
Yeah.
So, obviously, yeah,
there it is. There it is.
Yes.
So, hold it. So, can you tell us why?
Do you know what? I'm not... I would love to tell you why.
Yeah,
no, but I don't think I can, because Mark Gatiss will be...
I don't want to spoil it for anyone either. Martin, it's lovely to have you here. Thank you so much for coming on. The Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies is out on the 12th, which is next Friday. And obviously, if you've seen the other two, you're going to have to go and see it. But it's awesome. It's a really just a wonderful, epic, sweeping, but human experience. Congratulations on that. What a fine achievement. Martin Freeman, ladies and gentlemen. Martin Freeman, hey, after the break. Paul McCartney will be here, and music from the fabulous Ella Henderson. Don't go away. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you agree all my guests are splendid this evening, but I've been so excited about getting my final one out. He was the bass with the Beatles, he was the wind beneath wings, now he's enjoying a solo career that's seeing him conquer the world all over again. On his latest tour, listen to this, he played 63 shows to over 2 million people. It is Sir Paul McCartney. Hello, Paul. How you doing?
I'm great, thanks.
So you just got back from Brazil, I think?
Yeah.
Is that right? And you've just got back? You've only just got back a few days ago?
Yeah, a few days ago, yeah.
OK, how was that? How was Brazil for you? It looks incredible.
It was amazing, yeah. They're all so young, the audience, you know, as you see there. They're 20-something babes, most of them.
Wow.
Which is a bit embarrassing.
When you look back, do you remember what it was like to not be famous? Is there a period you look back, and do you look back on that with fondness, or is
I do look back on it with fondness, because, you know, it's your childhood and it's all that. I mean, it's a bit of a double-edged sword, because you couldn't get in things that I can get in now.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so there was that. But, yeah, I do back on it with fondness. Because, you know, I can say, oh, that was pre-Beatle. And to think of us guys trying to invent the Beatles and trying to think of how to write songs and all of that, you know, once you look at the career and the success of the Beatles, it's pretty cute to imagine these guys writing this stuff, you know, not knowing how to do it.
You said something interesting there. You said these guys trying to invent the Beatles. Were you deliberately thinking, OK, we've got to do something new? Because I always got the feeling, having read and studied and really been obsessed with the Beatles for many years, that you were, you know, you were very excited by Buddy Holly, by Chuck Berry. You wanted to play that kind of music and you learned that music, and initially in Germany you played that music. Were you deliberately trying to distance yourself from that or create something new, or were you just trying to do your own version of that?
No, you know what happened? We used to do covers all the time, as you say, and most of our act was covers, and we learned millions of them in Germany. But we come back and we're singing these kind of Little Richard, Chuck Berry songs in clubs, and there'd be other bands on the bill, and we'd be sitting in the dressing room and we hear them do Long Tall Sally. We go, oh, we're going to do that. Yeah. And then we'd hear them do a Chuck Berry thing, and we'd hear them basically do our act. Yeah. So we had to come up with a trick as to defeat this. So John and I started writing. Wow. And that's how we started writing. So there was no great muse. It was just to beat these people who knew our act.
I'm a huge Wings fan as well, and I'm a huge fan of your solo work, and your new album is tremendous. Well, there's one track on it that I was... And it's very much you... It seems very much you talking about that period. It's a track called Early Days. And I'll read you a couple of lines if you don't mind. You said, dressed in black from head to toe, 2 guitars across our backs, we would walk the city roads, seeking someone who listened to the music that we were writing down at home. You know, it's very much, the whole thing seems to be you processing or coming to terms or just remembering fondly that period. And you haven't really done that so much before, have you?
No, you know, I just got this idea to put it into a song, because I often think about that. You know, like I say, I often just... That is exactly what would happen. Me and John, dressed in black, guitars across our backs, writing letters to people. Dear sir, we are a semi-pro rock combo, and, you know, please listen to us. So I actually just wrote down what had happened, you know. And they are fond memories. Because, you know, then the Beatles happened and it all got sort of to be a phenomenon and everything. But then it wasn't. It was just 2 guys wandering along trying to work it out, you know.
But I love to hear that they are fond memories for you, because I know there was some acrimony in the band later on, and there were moments, and for us as fans to know that you have those memories of your time with John and George and Ringo, you know, that means a lot, and you must be aware of it.
It's very important to me, too, because of that acrimony. That was business. You know, we got to a point where we really got kind of crappy over business. Won't go into that, but it did. So to me, that rubbed off on me. And for years I thought, oh, yeah, you know, me and John, bitter rivals and all this stuff. I was very lucky. Before he got killed, we were mates. And we were ringing each other and we were talking about, I don't know, he used to make bread. So we'd talk about, what's your recipe, man? You know, whatever, you know. So it got very normal again. And I say, you know, he'd had Sean. So he had a baby. And I was bringing up babies, so we could talk about that and all this stuff, you know. You could talk about normal stuff.
Yeah.
So it got very nice, and I said, you know, to this day, I'm so glad. Because it would have been the worst thing in the world to have had this great relationship and then soured, and he gets killed.
Yeah.
I mean, so there was some solace in the fact that... we got back together and we were good friends.
I remember reading that you almost did get back together and play together again.
There was talk about it, yeah, and people were offering fantastic sums like they're doing for Zeppelin now, you know, to do it. But, and we'd talk about it, but it would always be, nah, you know, we've done it. We kind of knew we'd come full circle, and we thought, it's going to spoil it.
So that was never on the cards then?
Not really, no.
It's one of the things I most admire about the Beatles. I mean, you know, I unashamedly love the Beatles, but it's one of the things I most admire. But again, especially in our culture now, where we can't leave anything alone. Yeah. Well, we've got to bring everything back, and let's do it one last time. And it's the 5th anniversary, it's the 25th anniversary. You know, no one can leave anything alone. One of the main examples I always cite for things being finite. And one of the best examples of it is the Beatles were making records for like 7 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it was a very, very short.
That's what's so
time.
weird.
Yeah,
That's what's so weird.
Yeah.
Can I ask you one more question before we move on from this? 'Cause just that moment when John was murdered, when did you hear it? Who told you? When did you hear that had happened?
I was at home and I got a phone call. It was early in the morning. I was in the country and I just got a phone call. And it was like, I think it was like that for everyone. It was just so horrific. You couldn't take it in, and I couldn't take it in. And I just know, just for days, you just couldn't think that he was gone, you know. So yeah, it was just a huge shock, and then I had to tell Linda and the kids, and yeah, it was very difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, it was very difficult for everyone. That was like a really big shock, I think, in most people's lives. It's a bit like Kennedy.
Yeah.
There were certain moments like that.
The thing was because it was a shock for us, but we didn't know him.
Yeah, no, for me it was just so sad that, you know, I wasn't going to see him again and we weren't going to hang out. And, you know, for me, the biggest thing was that the guy who took his life, the phrase kept coming in my head, jerk of all jerks. It was just like, this is just a jerk. This is not even a guy politically motivated. It's just some total random thing. I go, hey, Pop.
Just to damage the broken person.
You know, yeah. So, yeah.
You know, you mentioned early on that you have young fans out there in Brazil and all over the world, of course. It's very interesting what you've done now, I think, from that perspective. There's a new McCartney song called Hope for the Future, which is a beautiful song, but you're releasing it in a very unusual and very different kind of way, aren't you?
Yeah, well, I was asked to do it for a video game. And I didn't know what was involved, so I went to meet the people, and they were doing this new video game called Destiny, which I believe you played.
I play Destiny. I play video games. I like it.
Right.
I play Titanfall and Destiny on my Xbox, yes.
Oh. So, yeah, they asked me to... You know, well, not all of us play video games.
You want to wise up?
Yeah.
I'll get you one for Christmas, all right?
Yeah.
I'll get you a console. But, so they asked you to do a song for this, and you're not someone I would have down as a big gamer.
No, I'm not a gamer, no. I watch the kids doing it. You know, I got grandkids who are, like, really seriously good at all that. So I basically watch them, and they'll give me a go reluctantly, and I'll just get killed, and then I hand back.
Yeah. But of course there was the Rock Band, and those, I'm sure you know the game Rock Band, where you could play instruments along with the screen. You weren't playing the proper instrument, you were playing a sort of a game.
Little buttons coming towards you, yeah.
And then it was exciting when the Beatles edition came out. Did you ever get to play the Beatles Rock Band?
I did, and got mashed. But I said I was with one of my grandkids who was doing great, and he's playing away, he's doing this, he's winning. And I said, yeah, but I play a real bass, and I wrote it.
Did you ever play the drums version? The game? I tried playing that, and I actually had newfound respect for Ringo, because, man, he must have known what he was doing after all. Let's have a look. This is the song, Hope for the Future. This is out Monday. Look at this. And this is a very unique video. I'll ask you how you made this afterwards. Look at this.
Hope for the future, it's coming soon enough. How much can we achieve? Hope for the future, it will belong to us if we believe, if we believe. Hope shines brightest in the dark when nothing's ever seen. Lighting undiscovered places no one's ever been.
Great single. That's out next week, isn't it? Yeah, Monday, yeah. Okay. Hey, but you know what excited me as well is Hope for the Future. You went back to Abbey Road to record that.
Yeah.
Didn't you? Now, that must be quite an experience for you to go back. The memory's there.
Yeah, for me, it is a nostalgia trip. I remember the very first day we walked in as 4 20-something boys, and we came in the tradesman's entrance because we weren't allowed to come through the control room. That was for the grown-ups. So we would just, you know, come in and like, wow, studio. George had a black eye, He got smacked by some guy at the Cavern the week before. So, yeah, whenever I go in there, all of that comes flooding back.
When you go to Abbey Road, the thing, I drive past Abbey Road quite a lot, because I live in North London, I live nearby, and often you'll go and there's the famous Zebra Crossing, where the photograph was taken of you, or not you, because you were dead, obviously, but the version of the person was meant to be you. But that photograph taken there, and now, of course, that's become a point of pilgrimage. There's always, if it's daylight, there are tourists there, and there are people, and it drives you mad, because whenever I curse your name once a week...
What do you think I feel like? When I'm stuck there...
Have you ever been at the Zebra?
Yeah, pull the visor down. Yeah, well, I mean, to tell you this, the truth, I've always wanted to recreate it, and I do often think, you know, you see some Japanese fans, I think, I'll just hop out.
You have to do that
I've got to do it one day. But this Halloween, we'd been to a Halloween party at my daughter Mary's, and I had this amazing werewolf mask. So I'm going home, and I've still got this big mask on, and we go to the crossing. So I just say, oh, we've got to do it. And it's like, you know, it's 11 at night. So I stop, and Nancy, my wife, I said, come on, we've got to do it. So she gets the phone, and we're holding up the traffic, but I'm there. The werewolf thing, and this guy looking very annoyed.
Yeah, that was me. That was me. I was like, get it, what are you doing? What's wrong with you? I've got to get home, I've got a party. You know what? It's a thrill for me to have you here on the show, and I thank you. And I've so enjoyed having you all on. But Paul, to have you back here is such a joy. So thank you so much for coming on.
John. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We did to Sir Paul McCartney, but also to Martin Freeman and Jeremy Clarkson, ladies and gentlemen. Next week here on the show, I will be joined by Mr. James Corden will be here, Boris Johnson will be here, Tulisa will be here, Keith Lemon and John Hamm. We also have music from Paloma Faith, so how we'll fit all that in, I don't know. But now, with yours, she's just got a most spectacular voice, ladies and gentlemen. I think you're going to love this song. It's beautiful. Here she is. It's Ella Henderson.
Coat, the one you love to wear, so I keep feeling close to what's beyond compare. The moments waking up, you catch me in your eyes. That beauty on my pillow that holds me in the night, and I will find my strength to untape my mouth when I used to be afraid of the words. But with you